Imagine a canvas stretched across eternity, painted with stardust and dreams. Now picture that canvas cracking, the vibrant colors bleeding into a void of nothingness. What would you do if heaven itself, the architect of existence, decided the masterpiece was flawed and deserved to be erased? If every mountain began to tremble, groaning under an unseen weight, every ocean surged in rebellion, swallowing coastlines whole, and the stars, those celestial diamonds, dimmed like dying embers in a blackened sky? What if all of creation, from the smallest blade of grass to the most magnificent galaxy, knew its time had come, sensed the impending doom in its very core? The angels, those radiant guardians, gathered at the edges of the earth, their faces etched with sorrow and resignation, waiting for the divine command that would usher in the final agonizing silence. And then it descended, a silence so profound, so absolute, that it pressed against the very soul of heaven itself, a suffocating blanket, smothering even the faintest whisper of hope. Because this was it, the culmination of millennia, the moment when divine patience, tested beyond measure, finally reached its breaking point. The moment when grace, the boundless ocean of forgiveness, would irrevocably recede, giving way to the cold, unyielding tide of justice. The scales, long tipped in favor of mercy, were about to find their final, devastating balance. But what if in that agonizing silence, amidst the palpable dread and the impending annihilation, one angel, a solitary figure of defiance and hope, dared to step forward? What if, as the heavens prepared to unravel their celestial tapestry about to be torn asunder, one voice, trembling with fear, yet resonating with an unwavering bravery, whispered, "Not yet"? What kind of love, incandescent and selfless, compels an angel to stand between the unstoppable force of God's wrath and the world he is poised to destroy? What kind of mercy, audacious and unwavering, dares to halt the inexorable march of the end of time itself? This is not a tale of rebellion, of a fallen angel seeking to usurp the throne of heaven. This is a story about a love so profound, so all-encompassing, that it is strong enough to face divine fire, to challenge the very fabric of destiny. It is a story about an angel who looked at the brokenness of humanity, at its flaws and its failures, and still amidst the darkness saw something inherently worth saving, a spark of divinity that refused to be extinguished. Because what if just once in the grand theater of existence, mercy proved to be stronger, more enduring than judgment? What if compassion, that often overlooked virtue, held the power to rewrite the very definition of fate? You're watching Bible Mysteries, where we delve into the hidden stories, the untold narratives, the enigmatic figures that the Bible hints at but never fully reveals. We journey beyond the familiar verses, seeking to uncover the profound truths and the timeless lessons that lie buried beneath the surface of Scripture. If you love stories that stir your heart, that challenge your perceptions and awaken your spirit to the boundless possibilities of faith, then don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell icon so you never miss another revelation, another exploration into the mysteries that shape our understanding of the divine. This is the story of the angel who stopped the apocalypse, a story of love, sacrifice, and the enduring power of hope in the face of unimaginable despair. It began, as all great stories do, with silence, not the serene silence of peace and tranquility, but the ominous, unsettling silence that precedes a cataclysm. The pregnant pause before the storm unleashes its fury. The kind of silence that makes even heaven, that realm of eternal joy and unwavering certainty, uneasy, that sends shivers down the spines of even the most powerful archangels. The angels, those celestial beings who dwell in the radiant presence of God, knew precisely what that silence signified. It was the agonizing pause between mercy and judgment, the final breath before the end. For centuries, millennia, even humanity had been warned through prophets and parables, through visions and dreams. The day would come, they were told, when the earth would tremble in its death throes, and the heavens would pass away like smoke, vanishing into the void from whence they came. And now, after countless generations of warnings, unheeded prayers unanswered, and sins unforgiven, that day had finally arrived. Across the vast reaches of the cosmos, beyond the swirling nebulae and the distant galaxies, the throne of God, the epicenter of all creation, blazed brighter than 1,000 suns, its incandescent light casting long, ominous shadows across the celestial landscape. From that blinding light, 4 angels, the most powerful and revered in all of heaven, stepped forward, their faces grim, their eyes filled with a somber resolve. Each angel held in their grasp what Scripture referred to as the 4 winds of the earth, elemental forces of unimaginable power capable of unmaking oceans, leveling mountains, and snuffing out the very light of the sky itself. The command had been given, the decree issued from the highest authority. Creation, in all its flawed and imperfect glory, would be undone, returned to the formless void from which it had been painstakingly sculpted. The experiment, it seemed, had failed. But then, at the 11th hour, just as the heavens were poised to unleash their fury from the east, from the direction of the rising sun, a different light began to emanate, a light that was softer, warmer, more comforting than the blinding glare of the divine throne. It was not like lightning or fire, not like the cataclysmic forces about to be unleashed, but like the gentle dawn that follows a night that has lasted far too long, a promise of hope amidst the encroaching darkness. Every angel in heaven, from the most humble cherubim to the mightiest seraphim, turned toward the source of this unexpected radiance, their wings momentarily still, their hearts filled with a mixture of curiosity and trepidation. And there, walking through the ethereal glow, came another messenger, an angel unlike any they had ever witnessed. He carried no weapon of destruction, no flaming sword, no celestial spear. In his hand was not a trumpet of doom poised to herald the end of days, but a seal, a small, unassuming mark said to belong to the living God, himself a symbol of protection and preservation. And in that instant, all of heaven, that vast and vibrant realm of eternal existence, stopped. The celestial gears ground to a halt, the cosmic symphony faded into a muted hush, and the very fabric of reality seemed to tremble in anticipation. The angel raised his voice, not with the imperious command that echoed from the throne of God, but with a profound compassion that resonated through the very core of their being. His words, though, trembling with the weight of their audacity, carried through eternity, reaching the farthest corners of creation. "Do not harm the earth," he pleaded, his voice filled with an aching sorrow, "nor the sea, nor the trees, not until we have sealed the servants of our God on their foreheads." And suddenly, miraculously, the winds paused, their destructive power momentarily suspended. The world, poised on the brink of annihilation, stood still, its collective breath held in terrified anticipation. the fire that was meant to fall from the heavens, a cleansing inferno that would consume all that was froze above the clouds, its destructive energy held in check by an unseen force. It was as though mercy, that often overlooked and undervalued virtue, had wrapped its arms around the apocalypse, sheltering it from its own destructive intent, and whispered, "Wait, there is still hope." Heaven, the realm of unwavering obedience and unquestioning faith, held its breath, uncertain of what was to come. The other angels, mighty beings who had dedicated their entire existence to obeying the Creator's every word, looked at him in shock and disbelief. For in all of creation's history, in all the countless ages of existence, no angel had ever spoken against a decree issued from the throne of God. No one had ever dared to question the divine will. But this one did. And though he was unnamed in the scrolls of men, his identity lost to the fog of history, heaven remembered him that day, for he stood between the implacable will of judgment and the desperate cry of mercy, a lone figure of defiance against the inevitable. Some say it was Michael, the protector of souls, the warrior angel who wielded the flaming sword and defended the faithful against the forces of darkness. Others whisper that it was Raphael, the healer, the gentle angel who carried the light of compassion itself, whose touch could mend broken hearts and soothe wounded spirits. But perhaps he was neither of those iconic figures. Perhaps he was simply an angel, an unnamed and unassuming messenger, so deeply in tune with the heart of God that when he saw the end begin, when he witnessed the unleashing of divine wrath, he felt not power, but an unbearable pain. Because how could he, a creature of light and love, willingly destroy what God had once called good? How could he lift his hand against a world that, despite its flaws and imperfections, still sang faintly of its Creator's love, a love that had been poured into its very foundation? Maybe in that moment of profound crisis, he remembered the children who prayed in the darkness, their innocent voices rising above the din of despair, even though no one seemed to be listening. Maybe he recalled the mother who whispered forgiveness to her wayward child, even though her own heart was shattered into a million pieces. Maybe he saw the man who knelt in the dust, his face streaked with tears, and begged heaven for mercy, one last time, clinging to the fading embers of hope. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. Enough to make him stand against destiny itself, to defy the inexorable march of fate. Enough to make him face the gaze of heaven and say with trembling conviction, "They are not ready. Give them time. Give them a chance to redeem themselves." And heaven, in its infinite wisdom and its unfathomable complexity, listened. Because sometimes, even in the realm of the divine, mercy needs a voice, a champion, to speak on its behalf, to remind the universe of its enduring power. And that day, in the face of unimaginable destruction, it found one in him. The skies remained dark, pregnant with unspoken judgment, but unmoving, their fury momentarily contained. The four angels who held the winds, the harbingers of destruction, looked at one another, conflicted, their faces etched with uncertainty. They had never disobeyed a direct command from God, never questioned the divine will. But something about his word, about the heartfelt plea that echoed through the heavens, felt undeniably right. It was as if compassion itself had spoken through him, using his voice as a conduit to reach the hearts of even the most hardened celestial warriors. Even the fire, the cleansing inferno that was poised to consume the world, paused to hear its destructive intent momentarily suspended. Have you ever felt that way? Like the world was on the edge of ending, your own personal universe collapsing around you, and you prayed with every fiber of your being, God, please not yet. Give me one more chance, maybe in ways we'll never fully understand. It was this same angel who heard you, who intercepted your desperate plea and carried it to the throne of God. Maybe it was his hand guided by divine compassion that held the storm back just long enough for grace to find you, to offer you a glimmer of hope in the face of despair. He was not powerful because of his strength, because of his ability to command the elements or wield celestial weapons. He was powerful because of his mercy, because of his unwavering belief in the inherent goodness of creation, even in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary. And though the other angels, those mighty beings of light and power, waited with bated breath for God's final command, the voice of the Almighty did not thunder from the heavens this time. Instead, there was only silence. A deep, reverent silence, as if God himself was watching the angel who dared to show his own heart, to reveal his own profound compassion, and found no fault in him. Because maybe, just maybe, that was the hidden will of heaven all along the unspoken test of faith and devotion. Not to blindly destroy, not to unleash the full force of divine wrath without hesitation, but to see if any among them would remember compassion, to see if anyone would dare to challenge the inexorable march of judgment with the unwavering power of love. And that day, in the face of unimaginable destruction, one angel did. But mercy, like all things of great value, has a price. And standing between wrath and redemption, between the forces of destruction and the fragile hope of humanity, would not be without consequence. Because when an angel halts the end of the world, even for a moment, the weight of both heaven and earth, the hopes and fears of all creation, falls upon him, crushing him beneath its immense pressure. And the heavens, it seemed, were not done shaking yet. He had done it. Against all odds, against the weight of divine decree, he had stopped the apocalypse, at least for the time being. The wind stilled the fire, withdrew, and all of heaven was silent, holding its breath in anticipation. For the first time since creation began, since the dawn of time itself, an angel had interrupted the command of God, had dared to question the divine will. And though his voice had been gentle, his plea filled with compassion, the weight of what he had done, the implications of his audacious act, was like a thunderclap echoing through the halls of eternity. Because in the courts of heaven, in that realm of unwavering obedience and unquestioning faith, obedience was not just expected, it was sacred, the very foundation upon which the celestial order was built. Every being in heaven, from the smallest cherubim to the most powerful seraphim, turned toward him, their wings folded in silent contemplation, their light dimmed in a show of respectful awe. The very foundations of paradise, those celestial structures built on the pillars of faith and obedience, trembled with a single unspoken question. What have you done? He stood there trembling, not in pride, not in arrogance, but in sorrow, the weight of his actions pressing down upon him like an unbearable burden. He could feel their eyes, the countless gazes of angels, whose glory burned like 1,000 suns, staring into him, scrutinizing his every thought and feeling. He had not meant to defy the divine will, to rebel against the authority of God. He had only meant to protect, to offer a glimmer of hope to a world teetering on the brink of destruction. He whispered again, his voice barely audible above the silence, "Not yet." And somewhere in the eternal silence, A voice answered a voice that resonated with both immense power and profound sorrow. Who are you to stand before the judgment of God? Who are you to question the divine decree? It was not the voice of anger, not the thunderous roar of righteous indignation. It was the voice of grief, the same grief that fills a parent's heart when a child acts out of love, but at the wrong time, in a way that could have disastrous consequences. The angel bowed his head, his heart heavy with the weight of his actions. "I am no one," he said quietly, his voice barely above a whisper. "But I have seen their tears, I have heard their prayers, and even now, in their darkest hour, they still cry out to you." He paused, gathering his courage, then lifted his gaze toward the unseen light of the throne, addressing the divine presence that filled the heavens. "Shouldn't love wait," he pleaded, "until every last one has been given the chance to return? Shouldn't mercy extend even to the most lost and the most broken?" And heaven once again fell silent. Around him, the angels of the wind, the harbingers of destruction, stood motionless, torn between their unwavering duty and the undeniable tug of compassion. They had seen what he saw, had witnessed the suffering and the sorrow that plagued the mortal realm. They too had watched humanity stumble through darkness, making countless mistakes and succumbing to countless temptations. But they had also watched humanity fight to rise again, to overcome adversity, to cling to hope even in the face of despair. Maybe that was why even they did not move, why they could not bring themselves to begin the destruction again. Because his words, though spoken in humility and trepidation, carried the weight of truth, a truth that resonated within the very fabric of their being. And then, as if in response to his plea, the sky broke open, not with fire and fury, but with a radiance unlike anything creation had ever seen. A light that shattered the darkness and filled the heavens with an overwhelming sense of peace and hope. So bright the stars themselves seemed to kneel in reverence, acknowledging the power and majesty of the divine presence. The angel, overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of the light, fell to his knees, his face pressed against the celestial floor. He did not look up, for he could not bear the weight of that divine illumination, the sheer intensity of its love and power. And the voice of God, the voice that had created the universe and spoken life into existence, filled the heavens, resonating through every soul in existence. It was not loud, not threatening, but it reached every corner of creation, permeating the very essence of being. "My will is mercy," the voice said, its tone gentle yet filled with an undeniable authority. "But mercy has a time. There is a balance to be struck, a delicate dance between compassion and justice. You have delayed what must come." The angel trembled, his voice filled with remorse. Tears made of pure light fell from eyes that had never known sorrow until this moment. "Then I have sinned," he whispered, his words barely audible above the hum of creation. "And I will bear it." The angel remained kneeling, trembling beneath the brilliance that saturated the skies. He did not dare lift his eyes. Every heartbeat felt like thunder within his chest, every breath like a fragile thread holding together a world on the edge of collapse. Around him, countless angels lowered their wings, unable to speak, unable to move, suspended between awe and terror. And then the light softened, still overwhelming, yet now threaded with something achingly gentle. The divine presence moved closer, not as a storm, but like a quiet tide touching the shore. The angel felt warmth wrap around him. Not anger, not condemnation, but a sorrow so deep it cut deeper than judgment ever could. "You have stayed. My hand," the voice resounded, echoing through every corner of existence. "And because of your plea, they will have time. But know, this mercy is not without cost." The words pressed against his soul like a seal, branding themselves into the fabric of his being. He bowed lower still, whispering through shaking lips, "Let the burden fall on me." Silence followed, an eternal silence. Then the winds exhaled, the fire withdrew, the heavens steadied. He had halted the end of all things, but he had also placed himself at the center of a cosmic reckoning, the weight of worlds now resting upon his shoulders. And heaven watched, waiting for what would come next. And so the angel who stopped the apocalypse reminds us that even in the face of divine judgment, compassion and hope can prevail. This story whispers that even the smallest act of mercy can ripple through eternity, and that love in its purest form can challenge the very fabric of destiny. It's a powerful reminder that even when we feel lost or broken, there's always a chance for redemption, a possibility for grace to find us. What did you think of this exploration into the mysteries of faith? Did this story of sacrifice and hope resonate with you? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below, share your reflections, or ask any questions that came to mind. Let's explore these profound ideas together. And if you're captivated by stories that delve into the hidden narratives of faith and challenge you to see the divine in new ways, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon. We have so many more revelations and mysteries waiting to be uncovered, and we wouldn't want you to miss a single one.